I'm having an absolute nightmare here, aren't I? What did I forget to do?
Don't worry about it. Crack on.
We'll pretend
We're here
that.
now.
Yeah, we're here now. Fuck it. I'll do it at the end. Right, guys, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. As always, we thank you very much for your support in this particular matter. We are here to discuss the game that took place last night. Duke and I were fortunate enough to be at the game. 4-1 win against the mighty Ghent of Belgium for a 5-2 aggregate win for us to advance to the semi-finals of the Europa Conference League. Duke, 2 seasons in semi-finals of 2 separate European competitions. That's not bad, is it? What a time to be alive.
I mean, any time's good to be alive, Rob. I mean, I'd rather be alive than dead. I'm not going to lie to you.
There is that.
No, I'll be honest with you, mate. Another fantastic European night at the London Stadium. Not quite the European nights we were promised. It's, but let's be honest, where we've been for the last 43 years, what we've done, how long it's taken us to get these nights, it's better than the Inter 2, Bob, of which there were 3 finals, so they couldn't even get a winner out of that. And here we are, another big semi. Love it. Love a big semi.
Yeah.
Billy doesn't, clearly, but never mind.
No.
And to be honest with you, Rob, the area around us was very sparse, shall we say. The other side of the stadium was packed. I mean, where we were sat looking across, we were in... He obviously doesn't love me, ladies and gentlemen. He's decided to piss off, but I'll keep going. Yeah, where we were sat... We were sat in the main stand. He's back. He'll let himself in. So
no clue what happened there.
It's just you. Don't worry about it. Like as I was saying, Rob, very sparse where we were. You know, Billy Bond's stand was filled all the way to the rafters. We could see that from where we were sat. I mean, I had no one sitting behind me apart from two gentlemen. I had no one sitting to my left.
You looked rather lonely.
I didn't feel lonely, Rob. Do you know why I didn't feel lonely? I had a few hundred friends from Belgium.
You did, yes. Yes. I saw you waving at them at 4 points of the match.
I'm not sure that was waving.
It
was waving. It was waving of a certain kind, Rob. You are right.
With a lightly closed fist. In a
kind of, you could
jerky.
Look through, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
something like that.
Nescafe wave.
Yeah, I was basically. I'll tell you what I was doing. I was making a cocktail without the cocktail. I was, so it was. I wasn't that lonely, but again, all these people saying that they can't get tickets to games for West Ham. I'm not gonna moan. I'm not. I've seen enough of it on Twitter today. People moaning that people are complaining that they can't get tickets for certain games. Where were you last night? Slightly different at weekends compared to obviously weekdays. Certain people where they live, the ability to travel to games midweek, Thursday evenings. It's not that simple. I still think 52,000, 55,000 that we may well have had last night. I didn't see the official capacity or the official tickets sold, shall we say. Yes, rather. But again, it was still a fantastic night. I mean, we'll talk about the game as we go, but I felt that the anticipation, the build-up, as the day went on, I had the day off yesterday, so I kind of was left to my own thoughts, not being at work. So I kind of sat in the other room playing a bit of FIFA in here on the computer, kind of getting excited in my own mind as the day progressed, knowing that I was taking obviously the 2 kids to the game. And they got home, or Logan got home from school. Me and Grace were getting ourselves sorted. And then, the journey up, the DLR and all the rest of it, and that tension in my chest was building, the excitement that a good result here results in another European semi-final, which up until last season, I'd never witnessed one. I was a baby the last time we really had a decent run back in 81.
And that ended in the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah, you see, so I was only 18 months old, so I can't really take that as being as something that I remember. I remember all of last year. I was fortunate enough to be, or unfortunate, depending on the way you want to look at it, at the home leg of the semi-final against Frankfurt. Something similar happened there with the fans as well. Politely tried to introduce myself. Politely tried to introduce myself to the to the lovely Germans, and was
you like being international friends.
You know what? I am half German, so I was trying to talk to them about a certain player that used to play in their World Cup squad.
Stefan.
Yes, Stefan. I was trying to.
Yeah.
I was asking them if they all had that name on the back of their shirts.
Yeah. Euro '96 semi-final equaliser.
Yeah, I was taken from the ground at this point. Wasn't banned or anything, so it's kind of nice. Just suggested that we should leave now. And here we are, another European semi-final that, dependent on the lovely people at the passport office, I'm kind of in two minds. If they get their fingers out, Rob, and they deliver Joe and Logan's passports, I'm actually going to be having to watch the home leg of this tournament, of this semi-final, with Mickey Mouse, because I will be in Disneyland Paris, and I don't think Joe will allow me and Grace to make the journey back on the Eurostar and then make the journey back to France after the game. I don't think she's going to allow me. So, but
she won't still notice.
She will not know. We are still waiting on Joe and Logan's passport to come through. So if it doesn't, we're going to have to move the holiday back a week. So I think I might have more chance of Eurostarring to Holland for the second leg.
Are you tempted to go? For the away leg, are you tempted to go?
It just depends on whether we are in Paris or not. I might.
It's very unlikely I'm going to be able to.
It'd be unlikely that I can. I mean, it'd be lovely to go and just to go out there. It'll be difficult.
I mean, I consider myself quite lucky. I've done 3 away trips, one of which actually I got into the stadium,
which was Larnaca, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'm actually having a little bit of a back and forth with my brother. You know what he's like. He wants to go to Alkmaar, and he's like, right, okay, who's going? And I'm like, well, I'd like to, but I've had a decent run of away games. So, and also, as you know, there's a possibility I might be stepping into a new role at the company I work with, hopefully in the next within the next week or so. So it might not be that it's the sort of like the right time for me. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but I've already booked the time off for Prague. Now I know, yes, okay, that's being very presumptuous that we've got to get past Alkmaar.
Hey, listen, no one said you booked it because you're going to the game. You've just said you've booked the time off. Might be that you want to watch Alkmaar versus Fiorentina. In their game. Joan, the dates are the 11th of May for the first leg, which is played at the London Stadium, 8 o'clock kickoff, and the away leg is on the 18th of May, 9 o'clock kickoff local time, which will be 8 o'clock our time. There you go.
Do you think there's any advantage to the fact that we're playing the second leg away?
For who?
In the favour of Alkmaar?
Of course.
I mean, it's said that there's a minute, infinitesimal advantage to the team that plays their home leg as the second leg.
No, there is definitely an advantage for Alkmaar, and that was proven last night, Rob. To be fair, they were 2-0 down. They knew, you're welcome. They knew what they had to do. They knew the situation they found themselves in going back to their home stadium. We knew from yesterday what we needed to do. We picked up a draw, and it was a creditable draw in the end over in Belgium. But, this one for me, they've proven that they know what they have to do in certain games. The Alkmaar social media on Twitter, their social media manager put up, they at West Ham United, we look forward to seeing you, and the usual knobheads that you find on Twitter.
There's plenty of them
giving it all the old, this, that, and the other. And then there's the Alkmaar fans in the listen, even if you do win your first leg, don't think the tie's over. And I'm in complete agreement with them on that one, because at the end of the day, they came back from 2-0 down.
They're in the semi-final.
We were all talking like it was an Anderlecht kind of, and I'll be honest, I was talking like it was an Anderlecht.
I wasn't.
Semi-final, and don't get me wrong. I'd have loved to play Anderlecht again. Part of me's kind of going, okay, it's not. That's good. It's a completely different side that we've got to play. But I'd rather it be Alkmaar than Lazio, Rob. And Alkmaar put Lazio out. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have played Lazio. The whole Di Canio kind of that marrying of similar fan base that love their
clubs.
Yeah, the way that the fans love their clubs and the rest of it. So don't get me wrong, I would love to have played them, but for me that was the more difficult tie. So there's there's that. So, but no, I mean, listen, we know we've got Alkmaar after last night, and for me now the hard work starts. These next 3 games, we're 3 games away from writing our own history, Rob. But let's talk about last night's game. Oi, you gorgeous man! Some good times for you this morning. Yeah, let's talk about last night's game.
Well, before we get into that, in case anybody's not aware, because they might be watching it on Twitter or on Facebook potentially,
I'm going to go over, Rob.
Were you going to put a vote in?
I am. I'm going to go in on my personal.
Good lad. Well, if anybody's wondering what the vote is about, it's Man of the Match award. It's basically you've got 4 players to choose from. And I've got to be honest, before we went live, Duke and I deliberated who should be the 4. And we went for Kufal, Rice, Paquetá and Antonio. Now, I had a bit of a hard time with deciding sort of who should go in, as did Duke. They're the 4 we picked. But to be honest with you, we've left out Bowen. We've left out
Zuma.
Zuma.
I didn't even bring up Zuma in our conversation.
No,
Rob.
we didn't.
Zuma I thought was immense last night. I thought that again, I love getting a semi, Andy. It's fantastic.
Can I just point out though, Milesy, that you might want to avoid drinking bitter, because apparently it might cause a little bit of brewer's droop. So just be careful.
I thought we were talking about the football. What's wrong with you, Robert?
Oh, listen, I've just got it on the brain. What can I say?
There's my man, True Cockney. Good to see you, sir. I'm waiting for Epic to come along. I'm waiting for Epic to come over. I was watching the West Ham Network earlier, and Mr. Epic, much like True Cockney, there being glass half empty. I actually don't even think that Epic had a glass. I think it was very empty. I think it had a hole in the bottom.
Milesy, no. You shouldn't be able to stand. You shouldn't be able to type.
That's going to be uncomfortable in the morning, 10 pints of Guinness. They're going to come out like tree trunks.
Yeah, be like charcoal. Anyway, we've got a little bit sidetracked. So if you're not watching on YouTube, pop across, cast your vote.
Why are you there? Give us a like.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
There's only 12 likes. Come on, 13 now. I've added 1 to it. Let's go.
Right. Okay. I've got a few little things to go through here, Duke, as we're rabbiting on. I mean, obviously, as the game was going on, you was in block 204, I was in block 205. And
No, you were in 3. I was in 4. Behave yourself.
203. 203. Yeah, it's all right. So I'm a bit distracted.
205 was empty and 206 was full of.
Just a bit distracted because
I'm
sitting here trying to do a stream and someone's gone out and not taking their fucking key with them and distracted me momentarily. Anyway, we'll let that slide. Thank you. Just can't get a staff these days, honestly. Send her out to walk the dog. And she makes all the bloody noises. She comes traipsing through the front door. Bloody woman.
That's what it is, isn't it? That's what they
do. Anyway, I mean, we obviously went 1-0 down, and I mean, I listen. You and me had a little bit of a difference of opinion in the way
confab. Yes,
yeah, because I thought up to the point of the first goal going in, which obviously I got to be honest. Visually, from a sports point of view, when I watch it back, I just go, "Oh, that just looks such an avoidable goal." But I thought up to that point, I thought we would looked the better team. However, when I compared notes with you, you were of a slightly different opinion at that moment in time.
I was, and I've watched it back probably about 15 times so far today.
How many?
15. I've watched the highlights, the half-hour highlights that they have on BT Sport. I recorded it last night and pissed everyone off by keeping pressing play on it today. Yeah. Being National Football Shirt Day as well, by the way. Which I've worn this all day. No, I still stand by what I said last night. I felt our play was bitty, broken. It wasn't as smooth or as I won't say easy, because that makes Ghent sound like a walk in the park. That's not what I'm getting at. But it wasn't as clean cut during that first half. I felt it could have been better. Benrahma, and again, people are going to go, he's picking on Benrahma again. No, it's not nothing like that. A lot of his crosses were overhit, and by overhit, I mean like 30, 40 yards overhit. These things were going out of play before they bounced, and when they're going out of play, I'm talking they were halfway across the carpet before.
Well, a couple of them I couldn't work out if they were crosses or shots, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, it was poor. And it was frustrating, Rob, because me and Andy were talking earlier on our preview stream. Went out at 2:00. If you haven't watched it, go give it a view after this.
Do you mean review?
The review, whatever it was. I keep doing that. I did it earlier.
You haven't had 10 pints of Guinness as well, have you?
No. It feels like it. I'm off the beer at the minute.
Maybe you should.
So yeah, it was for me. It was a hard watch up until. I think it was the 37th minute. Andy pointed out to me earlier when I think it was Bowen that got clattered down on the left hand side. On the right hand side. Their left back absolutely smashed him. We get the free kick. I actually, for a moment, considered shouting penalty just because I wanted to be an arsehole.
You probably did.
No, I avoided that one.
It was just me then.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we had about 200-300 Ghent fans over in 206, and 205 was empty. So when they were all up celebrating, swinging their scarves above their heads after their goal. Once we got our goal, it was our turn. And to be fair, it was really good play by Bowen to win the free kick. I believe it was Bowen that won the free kick. It could have been Souf's over on that left-hand side. And I tell you what, it's the perfect free kick, Rob, from that angle. And when I say perfect free kick, it's a goal regardless whether Antonio gets there or not, because of the way it's in swinging and the way that the players, our players, their players are going. It's going to come off of someone and go in regardless. It's only going to be luck if it goes up and over the bar or bounces off their goalkeeper because it's hit him. It's a goal. And Mickey's just a bully, Rob, for this goal. I tell you what, if you were writing a comedy sketch or a comic book, if you were doing the comic book sketch for the goal that took place, you would have had Antonio's hand just on the defender's face. Just hang on a minute, I'm doing something, and just holding him like that. Get out of the way. I'm just going to put my head on this and put it in. He just literally, the geezer couldn't get round him. It was like, the old comedy sketches like Morecambe and Wise, when you've got the little fella trying to beat the big fella up, and he's holding him at arm's length with his hand on his face, and that's
swinging
what it seemed
away.
like to me. And watching it back, it just makes me laugh, because the first time I watched it on the highlights this morning, that's what came to mind. It was that I was just like, that's amazing. That's absolutely brilliant. And then from that moment, I felt that everything started to click. Obviously, I went down on 40 minutes to go get the kids some food and some drink, which actually turned out to be a really good idea, because I was back up before the end of the first half. I actually managed to watch the last minute of the added time on the end. So
we actually discussed what you had pilfered from your wallet. I couldn't believe it.
Go again.
From the 3 hot dogs and a pint.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. 31 quid for 3 hot dogs and a pint. If you worked it out, the hot dogs were 8 quid each and the pint was 7. So,
and it was just a bit of sausage in a manky bun, wasn't it?
It was a very stale bun. It was a very lukewarm sausage. But hey-ho, it's captive
no
audience.
Onions, no sauce, nothing.
No, I don't have none of that shit. Neither do the kids. And, yeah, you came over to me at half-time and we had that little confab and, after the Rice goal, I went for a quick after the Antonio goal, I went for a quick jog across block 205 to 206 and introduced myself with a gentleman that was sat down in front of me. They didn't say hello back. They were very quiet. I don't know what happened.
Can't think why.
And yeah, I mean, I sat there with the kids. I was asking Logan if he was enjoying himself, and he had his face in his phone.
What a shock.
Kids. But I felt confident for the second half at that point. As I said to you when you come over, I felt up until the goal, it was very bitty. We were very... it was broken play. We just didn't seem like everything was clicking where it should do. I mean, listen, their goal, go back to their goal.
We was having a go, though, weren't we, to be fair?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We were trying to knock the ball around. We were trying to get, it was, like I say, we were getting down the wings, and Ben Rama was swinging a lot of balls that were going out of play. I mean, their goal, Rob, was a very... It's just... it's a frustrating one to concede.
Yeah.
We play some short passes in triangles. I think it was Rice, Souček, Zuma, and then the ball goes to Paqueta from deck, and he turns from facing he goes to play the ball out to the left where Benny is, and that's quickly blocked off. So he turns the other way and he goes to go over to Soufal on the right, and I've watched it. It's a very lazy pass. It's a very lazy pass, and it's intercepted, and then obviously things happen. Now, initially I blamed Paqueta. Watching it last night, people were in agreement with me. It was all Paqueta at the time. I've watched it back. I'm going to blame Emerson. I'm going to blame Paqueta for the pass and allowing that move to get underway, but I'm actually going to grill the fuck out of Emerson right now. If he'd actually shown 10, 15% more effort to try and get back, he would have been where the ball ends up for that wild roundhouse of a shot that is just absolutely wanked across the goal. If he could have got to that, he would have been, in fact, he probably would have been standing in that place if he just exerted maybe 15% more energy to get back. He strolls. It's bollocks from him. And then obviously there's just all that shit that goes on, and it ends up bouncing off of Agard's chest on the line. And don't get me wrong, it certainly wasn't against the run of play. I felt it was... at that point, very, as I say, we were bitty. it was a very evenish kind of game around then. It wasn't against a run of play.
They'd only threatened our goal once up to that point, hadn't
Mate,
they? I remember there was a ball that
we
was
only had
played
one
in.
shot. We only had one shot on target until, or even on goal, until our goal. So it's, we can say they only threatened. We really only threatened once with one shot until our goal. And until you have a shot on goal that goes in, then it doesn't matter, does it? Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of that
we controlled the ball well.
We did, but we didn't have an end product.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's like I say, it was bitty. It was broken, disjointed, for want of another set of word phrases. But we go in at half time 1-0. I still felt confident that we were going to win. I didn't think we were going to win like we won. I'll be honest with you. And we came out, Rob, second half, didn't we? And we just, I think there was I'll tell you what, there was a lot that happened. I'm going to get this open here. So there was a hell of a lot.
Is it?
I
was going to say, it's not your wallet. It's not that time of year.
No. It's my phone. So the game's been going 4 minutes at this point. 4 minutes, Rob. And at this point, I wanted to put my hands around the neck of Thomas Souček and do one of two things. One is strangle him, or two is the other one is drown him in a bowl of potato salad.
Oh, right? Harsh.
How do you hit the bar from 7 yards out, Rob? For fuck's sake.
Ask Thomas Souček. He
right,
might well
exactly. That's my point, mate. That could have come back, right? But it was that build up was the start of everything, really.
Yeah, the crowd really sort of were lifted at that point.
We came out just on one. So he hits the bar. The ball's recycled.
Bit like Malsey.
Eh?
Yeah, like Malsey.
He is now, yeah.
He's hitting the bar.
Check hits the bar. The ball's recycled. It comes to Bowen. He prods it across the box. And Bowen left-footed bends one. Keeper gets down well, pushes it round out for a corner. Corner comes in. There's a load of clearing and attacking and clearing and bouncing and all the rest of it. Comes to Soufal. He looks up because there's literally nothing else on. He looks around him. So he just puts one back into the box. Now, God knows what the defender's thinking, Rob. Andy says he slipped. I think he goes for the header, but the ball actually drops like a stone. It drops so quickly. Hits his thigh. His arm's out. Bounces up. Everyone fucking goes penalty. I want a penalty. In the midst of all of this and everyone going, I want a fucking penalty, Antonio's going, I want a fucking penalty. Oh, shit, the ball's at my feet. Let me turn and shoot. And it cannons back off the post. And you're like, what? This has all happened in the space of 4 minutes, Rob. 3 minutes.
Cheers, Mac.
49, 50 and 51. All of that, thank you. All of that happened in 3 minutes. Crossbar, Bowen's shot at the near post, and the handball and Antonio post. Those four things happened in 3 minutes, right? So I'm like, everything's going on. The ball didn't go out of play from the Antonio shot, and we had to wait another 4 minutes before we end up, I think we got a corner. Well, it's another minute. We get a corner, which shouldn't have been a corner, by the way. It was the one where Ben Rama gets tackled out on our left-hand side, and it does come off of him. Like I say, I've watched it a couple of times today. And then the referee, Emerson's going, all the players are going up. And the referee puts his hand up to Emerson, and he's like this. And Emerson's like, all right, yeah, cheers. But now we know it's being checked. And he obviously gets called over, and we all know what it means when the referee gets called over. Is it a harsh penalty? Yes, I think it is. It bounces off his thigh as he's doing some sort of Cirque du Soleil contortionist bullshit. Bounces up, hits his arm.
Is it any more or less harsh than the penalty was given against Antonio on Sunday?
Yes, because Antonio's arm was outside the shape of his body. The reason I say this one is harsh is the guy's falling and the ball's hit another part of his body before it's hit his arm. If it doesn't come off of that part of his leg, it doesn't bounce up and hit his arm. We're not even having this conversation. So I think it's harsh, and it's one of them. Was you surprised to see Pac-Man get the ball?
Yes,
for the penalty?
massively. I thought it'd be Benny.
But Benny had a mare of a game up until this point, I felt.
He had, but to the best of my knowledge, he's not missed a penalty. He's certainly not missed a penalty when he's taken one for us. And he's taken a few now.
But didn't Pac-Man take our last penalty in Europe?
Who was that against?
I'm pretty sure. The way it feels to me, it feels like there's a revolving door of penalty takers. Oh, I just bit my tongue. Oh, Jesus. That really hurt. A revolving door of penalty takers, which is...
Well, we've had, 4 on
Paqueta? No, yeah, but Paqueta and Benny. It seems to be Benny took one, then Paqueta took one. Benny took one at the weekend. And now it's... Yes, it was. I will give you that one, Apache. Although I was too busy screaming for the penalty to be calling Antonio a few names. I don't think... See, Jones says there I read Benrahma was going to take it. I actually think Benrahma gave him the ball. There was a little bit of a little chat, and then Benny walks away. Now, according to Andy on the earlier show, Moyes is sitting on the seat, one of the few times he did sit down, and he looks at Nevin or Nolan and he goes, "What the fuck are they doing?"
Yeah, have you seen the interview he's given?
I don't tend to listen to a lot of that bollocks that man says because he seems a bit prickly just recently. So, there are. Anne's just come in with a fair comment, possibly. Listen, we don't know what goes on the pitch, do we? Let's be fair.
There must have been a conversation between the two of them.
But he took it, and he done that. Fucking every day, I'm shuffling bullshit.
It's not. He didn't go to Julian Dick's school,
mate.
Taking penalties.
Speaking of Julian Dick's, I need to put. Hang on. Yeah, that was the old monks, wasn't it?
Yeah, you need to
tear that rip his collar off, didn't he?
Yeah.
But what a penalty. Out of the reach of the keeper, top bins. Certainly made me feel a bit more confident seeing that penalty on a replay than it did watching Benny's and the way Benny topped his against Arsenal on Sunday. Good penalty, good finish, and we're 2-1 up. Rob, I've got to ask. So, before our second goal, before the penalty was taken, I think it was about the 50th minute.
Yep.
Maybe a bit earlier. Did you see the away fans do what you do at concerts with the torches on their mobile? Did you hear the West Ham fans' response? The song. Did you hear the West Ham fans?
What the fucking hell is that? I was one of the ones singing it, mate.
Yeah, so was I, right? And then what really made me chuckle was there was some arse bandit out there amongst our home fans that went...
Are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I can. Because I'm not saying it in a derogatory way. There was some arsehole out there last night that went, "Fuck it, get your torch out after we've scored." And the whole stadium, you just saw, it was like a Mexican wave of lights. It just went all the way around. And I was pissing myself laughing. It was such a good touch. It was so much fun.
Me waving my phone in the air.
Yeah, I did. Logan had his phone out. Grace, me, I didn't give a shit at this point. It was just so much fun that this happened. I'll tell you what. No, I'll save it for a minute. I'll save it for a minute. I'm going to come back to that. Cockney, you're right. It was so good. And then literally 2 minutes later, Rob, listen, I can't wax lyrical enough about this goal.
The goal. I mean, all right, I know some people are going to turn around and go, yeah, it was a good goal aesthetically. I can hear this coming from
I know
the Graham Souness's and the Roy Keanes of this world and all the rest of it.
Against Ghent.
It was only against Ghent in a third-rate European team. Look, Declan
goal,
Rice can only score the goal against the team that he's put up against.
Mate, that goal is going to be shown in the highlight reels of this competition for the next 20, 30 years. When we get down the line after we've won it 6 times, that goal is going to continuously be shown, right? I'll come back to that in a minute.
It would be shown continuously if it was Manchester United in the Europa League or
only
Manchester
if they're
City
in it.
Well, yeah. You know the point I'm making, though. If it was a top 6 club.
Seville away, well, playing Seville isn't for everyone.
No, it's not.
Playing Ghent, just like playing Ghent, Spurs fans. Anyway, enough of the slide digs.
Who?
Declan Rice wins the ball, Rob.
Did they make the semi-finals this year of any European contest?
I haven't made the semi-final of any competition. They beat us, actually. Declan Rice wins it with a patented Declan Rice tackle, the harrying from behind and nicking the ball. Plays the ball out to Paqueta. Fuck it, I don't care.
Lucas.
And I actually felt he was fouled, Rob. I actually felt he was fouled.
Who, Rice?
Who,
Rice?
No, Paqueta. I actually felt he was fouled. Yeah. And then as they both went down in a lump, I actually thought that the Ghent defender grabbed the ball kind of in this sort of motion because he felt that Paqueta was going to get away from him. As he felt that Paqueta was coming down, he kind of pulled his arms out of the way, which was just amazing because then Dec picks that ball up on the centre circle and just drove forward. Yeah. Now, here's my only criticism of the Ghent defence for this goal. Right?
Yeah, shit.
No. The defender turns his back. So as Declan Rice feigns to come inside, the Ghent defender actually turns almost a 360 degrees. He turns his back on Rice. He goes to 180 degrees and then realises Rice is not coming. So he turns back again. And Rice has taken advantage of that and has got 2 steps away from him. I always used to say to my brother when I used to take him football, never turn your back on your opponent, regardless. Always back away. Yeah. Never turn. If they go inside you, don't turn. And then if they're not there, don't go all the way around because 9 times out of 10 they will come back where you just turned from. And that's exactly what happened. How many times you had a
player go inside you?
Stop it. That goes with your semi, Rob.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. It was an open goal.
That's why he was inside you. It was brilliant. It was so good. He goes outside. He knew it was in before it hit the net, Rob. Once he struck that ball, you could see the smile on his face. He was already wheeling away, I think. And I like the interview afterwards when he says, I didn't even know what I was going to do to celebrate. I didn't know what to do. He did the slide. He did the Pablo Fornals salute. And then the players are on him. Now, here's something. Kind of went down on his head, didn't he, and put his head on the grass.
Yeah.
Right. And it's at that point, watching the highlights, don't get me wrong, in the game last night, I am batshit crazy at this point. I'm saying hello to my Belgian friends with a closed wave.
Very mature.
Oh, I don't care. Don't sit in our end. Again, inside the
play. It does make a mockery of having an away end, doesn't it? If you're going to put a load of away fans in the home end.
It's actually, is it P1 Travels?
That's the one.
That's the one. So anyway, when you watch it back on the highlights, he's actually got his head down on the grass. And part of me felt that the emotion of the occasion got to him.
Mm-hmm.
But also part of it is that could have been his last big goal for West Ham in front of them fans. Right. Now, I mentioned this earlier on the stream with Andy, and I don't know if Andy made the point of all of this, the chest, the badge beating, all that. And Andy made a comment that he reckons we might have him another year. Right. Andy. Andy reckons he might give us another year, sign a new contract with a release clause. Now, listen, we can all have our thoughts on this. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Declan's going to do what Declan's going to do. Right? That's it. We can all have our own opinions. Jones says, how much will that go inflate Declan Rice's transfer fee? I think the way Declan Rice has played in the last few games, I think we could be looking at going back north of 100 million again. But I don't want to get into that and the rest of it. I just felt that the way his head was on the floor, he looked like he was... a lot of the emotion had kicked in that this might be the last big goal at London Stadium in front of the home fans.
Well, here's a question for you, Duke. Just sort of like on that point. I mean, look, it's possible we could keep him for another season. I don't see he's going to sign a contract extension in any way, shape, or form, because if he would have done, he'd have signed the previous 3 or 4 that he's been offered, and he hasn't. All of which would have made him the highest paid player in the history of West Ham United.
Yeah, but it's not for me. It's not all about money with Declan.
No, it isn't. But that's kind of the reason why he wants the glory. Do you know what I mean? And he's not, with all due respect to us, look, he's not going to get a Champions League winners medal or a Premier League winners medal with West Ham. Regrettably, he just isn't. Let's be real.
He won't get a Premier League medal, but there's a distinct possibility that he's going to get a medal this season.
Yeah, Conference League, but in a team that, to be quite honest with you, shouldn't be where they are in the Premier League.
Let me ask you this:
I was just going to ask you.
Oh yeah, you're going to ask them.
Because obviously we've got, as things stand at the minute, we've got 1 year left on his deal, but we can activate an extra year.
Yeah,
so essentially
we've got 2 years,
2, right? So say we keep him next season and we flog him on next season, but as a result, our asking price goes from 100 million, which we could get in this summer, down to 50 million. Is that a 50 million loss that's worth it, in your view?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. It's just a yes from me. Question for you. Something I was thinking of earlier when I was running around the pub doing the cleaning and stuff.
You don't have one of your minions doing this?
No, I do that myself. I know it's done then. When you talk about West Ham and we talk about European football and lack of trophies and whatnot, would you take finishing 6th, 7th in the league, 6th, 7th, 6th in the league every year?
Yep.
Qualifying for the Europa Conference every year.
Okay.
Winning the Europa Conference every other year, qualifying for Europa League, maybe on the off chance doing all right, getting a couple of players in, winning the Europa League, still finishing 6th, bear this in mind. Qualify for the Champions League, but maybe get knocked out, but still finish 6th for the next season. Qualify for the conference, win the conference. So every 3rd season, we have a trophy in the bag. It's the same trophy. It's the conference. Qualify for European football the next year in the Europa League. If we win the Europa League, we get Champions League football. But you're guaranteed to win one trophy, which is the Europa Conference, every 3 years, guaranteed, or every 2 years, guaranteed. Is that success long term?
For us?
For anyone.
Well,
for anyone that's not one of the big 6, Rob. Put it that way.
Right. Okay. Outside of the big 6. Well, I would say at the moment, yes. Although in a couple of years' time, you're going to have to say big 7 because you're going to have to include Newcastle.
But
so
then you
outside of those, I would say
no. You wouldn't be saying big 7, Rob. Because then if you're going big 7, we're not qualifying for Europe.
That's not necessarily so.
Well, it is, because you're talking about your big 7. All of a sudden, that puts us
in terms of their finances, in terms
8th.
of their
but then that puts us 8th in that list. So then we're not qualifying for Europe. What I'm saying is, would you take
you don't
6th
finish
place?
where you don't necessarily finish where in terms of your expenditure, do you?
Well, no, you look at Leicester, I suppose. Would you take 6th place every year?
Of course.
And winning the conference every 2 or 3 years.
Mate, I'd cut me right hand off.
That's what I was thinking. I'd take that all day long.
Absolutely.
That'd be success.
Jesus
That'd be
Christ,
massive
yes.
success for this club.
For what we've witnessed over the last 40 odd years. Oh my God, yes. If that was to be, I mean, Walshy references them there. Yeah. If that was to be Chelsea getting 6th, 7th, winning the Conference League every 3 seasons and fuck all else for a team of that size, yeah, that would be absolute abject failure.
But mate, would you consider? See, this competition's being belittled at the moment, right?
Yes,
and we're being belittled off the back of it because we're only playing against Moldovan fucking goat farmers and all the rest of it, and we're going to win it.
Nothing wrong with Moldovan
I had a Liverpool fan make a comment on Declan Rice's goal on the BT Sport Facebook page or the Twitter page, and they turned around and they said, "Oh, it's a pissant tournament. You'd never see us rada." And I made a comment of that will be you next year if you're not careful. If you are not careful, Liverpool could be playing Conference League football next season. His response, well, then the prestige of that tournament will go up. No. You can't have it both ways, dickhead. You can't have it as a pissant.
So it's a good tournament
only
if you're in
tournament until you play in it.
Yeah.
Fuck yourself. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. If it's a pissant tournament, then it's a pissant tournament. I'll take winning a European pissant tournament right now. I've got a bottle of champagne in my kitchen, right, that I've earmarked. Touch wood. I've earmarked for June. And I will be spraying that fucking stuff all over my pub.
Shouldn't it be Czech lager?
I'm going to be drinking Moretti. That's Italian. That's the closest.
Budvar?
Who? Budvar. No, I haven't got any. But that's where I'm going to be, right? And Mandy's
good point. Right. Yes.
Right. If it's good enough for Jose, it's good enough for me. As far as he's got it. Fucking door. He's got it on his arm. He's got a tattoo of the trophy on his arm. Oh.
Are they on sale already? I haven't even checked.
I
suppose I better check.
Paris. Either that or he's pulled the ticket off at Asda's and he's got a semi. One of the two.
All things are possible.
Oh, Joan. We've still got a couple of games of the season left.
You're on about the tier list?
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Okay, we can sort
that. All right, we got plans. Anyway,
keep an eye on the channel this time next week.
What happened? 5 minutes later, Rob, Antonio went, Deck gave him a nudge and went, all right, Deck, anything you can do, I can do better. Right? And I tell you what, this frustrated the shit out of me. Watching it back, Rob, I don't know about you. But you know, we were talking about Ben Rama and Emerson when they play like in a 3-5, a 3-5-3-4-3 or whatever. We talk about Ben Rama and Emerson. Yeah, we could work on that.
Oh, hello. Operating again.
Hey, operating in the same 2 meter space. Question for you: why the fuck did Antonio run down the left and Ben Rama stay outside of him in the 3 yard space that was between Antonio and the touchline? Why didn't Ben Rama come inside? I don't get me wrong. If he'd come inside, we might not be seeing that goal. But I was so fucking annoyed. I stood there and I was like, Benny, fucking
get out of the way.
Dick. That's what I did. I shouted it, right? And then Antonio went, no, fuck it. I'll cut inside. Don't worry about it. And everyone's having a moan at the goalkeeper. Everyone's having a moan at the goalkeeper that he's got to do better. He's got to do. Mate, watch it back and watch the goalkeeper's hand bend as he gets his
chocolate wrists.
Not even chocolate wrists, mate. The power that was behind that shot. I think you could have put a fucking splint down the back of the goalkeeper's glove, right? and his hand still would have bent back. If you watch it back, there's so much power. Oh, Andy, without a doubt.
We're going to come on to him in a minute, actually.
I might, yeah.
I said come on to him, not come
again.
on him.
Well, I still might. The finish was outstanding. We go another 10 minutes down the line, and Bowen has one disallowed for handball in the build-up, which I thought was very harsh on him. Very harsh. I thought Bowen was brilliant last night. He everything that was in front of him, he really did deserve his goal. I feel slightly sorry for him that he's now joint with Antonio as West Ham's best ever European goal scorer. Poor sod.
Great servant for the club.
Eh?
He's been a great servant for the club. Whatever you want to level at Mickey, he has been a great servant.
I want to level Mickey at times, Rob. There are sometimes I get frustrated with him, but I listen. You got to love him. I'll tell you what. Yeah, no, Joan, it's amazing. He runs around the back of the goal. He has no idea what he's fucking doing. Gives it the knee slide, gives it that, and then everyone's on him, and he just leans forward. He gets up.
Can I just sort of point something out at this point?
And I love it. I love it. I've got all the time in the world for it.
We've got 39 watching. On the man of the match vote, we've only got 29 votes. So there's at least, by my maths, 10 of you minimum.
And we've only got 27 likes. Come on, you lot.
Yeah. Go onto the YouTube channel. We want your opinions. Who's your man of the match? There's four choices. Kufel, Rice, Paquetá, and Antonio. Now, I have a particular one that I'm going to pull for, and I'll get into that as or shall I get into that now?
Well,
okay, all right.
Get into whatever you want.
Shall I get into a negligee? No, that's later.
No, God no. Not right now.
Everybody's just turned off. It's fine. Nobody watches this anyway. I'll tell you who I think. This is just my opinion as the man of the match. Now, I personally think it's this guy. Now, my brother and I were having a little discussion this morning. He vehemently just doesn't rate Paquetá at all. I mean, Paquetá could score a fucking hat trick, left foot, right foot header, and he would still say that Paquetá was outshone by someone else. Just look at this. He played the entire game, 90 minutes. He got a goal. He got 2 assists. His pass accuracy was 80%, which is pretty respectable, it has to be said. He created 3 chances, had 2 shots. His shot accuracy was 100%, 1 out of 1. The other one was blocked. If you're interested in expected goals and all that sort of nonsense, you've got a couple of stats there to get your teeth into as the case for the prosecution for Paquetá as man of the match. But let's have a little look here. I mean, this is the one that I really look at and I go, this is the telling stat, Duke. Amongst all that, passes into the final third, 12. Okay. Now, how often do you hear levelled at players? And Mark Noble was someone that had it levelled against him wrongly, in my opinion, for an awful lot of his career, is that he's always playing the safe ball. He's always going sideways. He's always going backwards, whatever. Now, despite the fact, and you mentioned it, he did make an error for their goal on the night, but he still went, give me the ball, and played 12 passes into the final third for his teammates to try and profit on. He had 71 touches. 1 shot, as I say, was blocked. He took a corner. I mean, I thought he was really busy last night. He made 1 successful tackle out of 1 attempt. He'd made 4 recoveries, 2 out of 4 ground duels, 1, 3 out of 4 aerial duels, 1. I mean, I thought he was outstanding last night. Outstanding. For me, I thought he was the man of the match. It was a difficult one, and I think that there was part of me that because of the goal that Rice has got, the quality of that goal, as well as his all-round performance, it wasn't just he scored a great goal, but he did fuck all else. I mean, his stats, you look at his stats, and they're bloody impressive as well. But I don't know. I just thought yesterday, I thought Paquetá was, and he's been slowly getting used. I know this wasn't a Premier League game, but he's been gradually getting ingrained in with his teammates. His teammates have been getting used to him. And I just think that we're really starting to see, in my opinion, my brother won't agree, but I think that he's starting to look more like a £50 million player. Might not be there yet, but he's getting there, in my opinion.
I think what you've got to do with Pac-Man is you've just got to let him play. It's very difficult to pin him down. Okay, it's very difficult to have to give him a role. He's a very much another Maverick-esque style player, not quite in your mold of Dimitri Payet. Can carry the ball and do things with the ball. But Paqueta can see a pass. Yes, I just think he gets too comfortable at times with making these passes that I think you're going to have to forgive him giving the ball away like he did, which led up to their goal. I think you're going to have to forgive that. But I just think also you've just got to let him play. And when you do, that's what you get. What you get is what we saw after that pass that he gave away for their goal yesterday. Once you just let him play, he's a whole different kettle of fish, and it is so good to watch when those passes are when they're flying around. You know, he's pinging balls left, right, and centre, and it's brilliant to watch.
And he puts his foot in as well, doesn't he?
He's
not just spraying passes.
Their number 8. I mentioned it earlier. Ghent number 8. What was his name?
Bugger. Hang on, I've got it here somewhere.
Offie. Something. It's one of them. Where is he? There he is. Adija Ofo.
Yeah.
He came on looking very much like. Do you remember what was the battle of Bramall Lane, Rob? Sheffield United versus
West Brom. That was where they were getting players sent off left, right, and centre.
Yeah, who was the one that got sent off after he came on?
George Santos. He came on. And
I tell you what, that's who he reminded me of.
Did you know the backstory to that challenge?
Yeah, I know, because he busted.
It was a guy called Andy Johnson, not the one that played for Palace and Everton. It was another guy.
Yeah.
And apparently Johnson had done a challenge on Santos in a previous game that had put him out for a period. I don't know. But he came on and literally just made a beeline for him and went, I'm just
snapped him. Just literally snapped him. But that geezer last night reminded me of Santos. He had the same stocky build, the haircut. And he kept going after Paqueta. It's like he'd been brought on and told, go get, like a bulldog, go get him and deal with him. And he kept leaving his foot in. And at one point, him and Paqueta had a bit of a tete-a-tete on our right in the second half. And Paqueta stood over him. And the geezer got up and was kind of like, oh, I'm here now. And Paqueta just stood there and was like, what are you fucking doing? And he basically just kept stepping backwards. And the geezer kept coming with him. And then Paqueta stopped. And the geezer barreled into him. And Paqueta was like, shoved him back. You know what? It was there with Paqueta.
Yeah.
But then he kept making beelines for him in the challenges. Every time Paqueta picked up the ball in the box, about 5 or 6 minutes after the third or fourth tackle that he'd put on Paqueta, our very own enforcer decided to go hunting. And Vlad absolutely smashed the prick. When I say won the ball, completely took the ball. But this geezer went so far up, he changed one of the light bulbs up in the floodlights before he hit the floor. Right? Vlad hit him. Bang! You know what? He didn't go anywhere near Paqueta after that. He kind of stood in the middle of the park and went, I want absolutely fuck all to do with this anymore. And
you know who that sounds like? Do you remember the stories about Billy Bonds basically being Trevor Brookings' minder and Trev going up to Bill and saying, Bill, can you deal with him? He's getting a little bit
he's getting a bit fucking
bit much.
Yeah.
Leave it to me, Trev. Bang!
Yeah. But then,
that was when you could do it.
The same there for especially for his final season at the London Stadium. Upton Park, was Yossi Benayoun and Thomas Repka. Thomas Repka was the same thing for Yossi Benayoun. Yossi Benayoun was brilliant, quick-footed. Again, one of these kind of brilliant playmaker style players.
Don't worry, Yossi. I'll get him for you.
And mate, how many red cards did Repka get in his opening 3 games? I think it was 2 or 3, wasn't it? He got sent off.
2 in his opening 3, didn't he?
Madness, wasn't it? Right. He kicked the shit out of you, and he did for Yossi. He was the same sort of thing.
That cunt could have an argument in an empty room,
mate. Yeah, without a mirror. Not belittling mental health and paranoid schizophrenia. Just clear that up. It was just so good to see that kind of. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anyone went to Soufal. He's at it. Go fucking take care. No one said it. Soufal saw it and went, "Nah, fuck you. I'm coming." Good evening. He went, "I'm coming."
Freya
for
watching,
and he just smashed it.
Hello, Freya.
I will say, after Paqueta, you got plenty that we could have put up on that list. Like I say, Zuma at the top of the show. I said we should have really mentioned him. Antonio, Bowen. Again, I'll tell you what, I know he's taken a lot of stick, and again, I did say to you at half time, or before kickoff actually, when we saw that Soufal's name was on the team sheet, that I think Souček, that Souček must have nudes of David Moyes, right? He must do, because he can. But I tell you what, I'm going to give him credit where it's due last night, right? He did the ugly stuff last night, Rob. He did, and I think where we're looking too much at stats and stuff, and we're looking at him with his pass rate or his touches or anything else. I'm going to give him credit where it's due. Now I'm not looking at him in that way. I'm not looking at him like that. Right, I'm actually looking at him in the same way I looked at him in the Arsenal game, and I watched him again last night. I actually spent a bit of time watching him last night. He put his body into positions where he was cutting off passing lanes for Ghent. I'll tell you what, sounds really annoying because we moan about this when it's from corners and stuff. He was marking space. He wasn't allowing Ghent to move into that space. He did the same against Arsenal. It's not. I mean, we were focused very much on his stats, but if you actually spend some time watching him, where we sit, Rob, and especially when I go to games, I like sitting up in the gods, so you can see everything that goes on. I've got to say, I didn't see it. I've got to say, he does a lot of the ugly stuff that the other two, Rice and Paqueta, we rely on them to knock the ball around. We rely on them to play football. Whereas if you actually watch Souček actually, he marks the space that stops the other team playing into. He actually goes and picks up the man and stops the pass from going to the man. He does a lot more off the ball than he does with the ball. That's for the other two boys to do. And I noticed a lot more of it last night, that he doesn't get credit for it. He's taken a lot of stick for his passing stats and his non-existent touches. It's what he does off the ball. And I will take some of my criticisms that I've leveled at him back, just based on last night and watching him play last night, because I actually thought his positional play was fantastic last night, Souček. Not saying he's up there with one of the man of the matches, but he certainly gets a 7 or an 8 from me. I thought he was really good. Again, Zuma, Soufal, fantastic. Paqueta gets the nod because of the way he passes the ball around. Rice because of the goal. Antonio because of the goal. Bowen and his work rate and the harassing when they're up top. But Souček will get an honourable. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to spend some time. I will watch the game on Sunday, and I'll record the highlights. I'm going to spend some time watching Souček's positional play because I reckon that's where I think that's where we've been letting him down as fans, is that we're so focused on the analytics and the stats and the numbers and the figures, rather than watching what he does outside of that and blocking the space. I mean, yeah, he's been shit this season on stats and figures, but then no player can stand heads and shoulders above the rest on performances because they've been shit. Everyone's been shit this season. And I think if we actually take some time out and look at Souček's positional play, I think we'll see we'll see a slightly different side to his game, which might change our views on him a little bit, I think.
Don't know. I mean, 9 completed passes in 90 minutes or whatever it was, one of the games a few weeks back. I mean, yeah, all right. He might have been cutting off passing lanes left, right, and centre in that match. To be honest with you, I didn't really notice. What I did notice, it was, like you say, the stats are what the stats are. He barely touches the ball. He barely makes a pass.
But then he doesn't need to if he's doing the other stuff really well. And I think that's where we as fans have been letting him down. We've been so focused on that. I really do think that that's not his game. We're focused on the numbers that are not his game. They've never been his game, in fairness. They've never been his game. His late runs into the box for the goals were his game.
That's and the tackles and the interceptions and the headed duels.
Yeah, but now we've got the likes of Rice, Paqueta that are doing all of that. You've got the likes of the boys at the back winning a lot more of the headers as well as the tackles there. Just because he's not making the tackles, it means he's marking the space where the passes are not going to. And I think that's a different side to his game. Again, it's just my opinion. It's just how I looked at it last night and looked at some of the stuff. And I did mention it in the Arsenal review when I was talking to the boys. That's how I'm seeing it. And again, there'll be other people out there that disagree, and that's fine. I get that, and I'm not gonna argue with them over the sake. I'm just saying it how I see it, and I think again, if you listen to, I think it was Hammer's chat on either their game last night or their on their review of the game last night or one of their videos this morning. And I think Gonzo brought it up and he turned around and said, if you were to ask Rice and Paqueta why is Souček still in that role, why is he still there, they're not going to say, no, he shouldn't fucking be there, his bollocks, get him gone. I can guarantee you that they can play like they can with him in the team. And I guarantee you that Rice and Paqueta will say, and this is what Gonzo said, and I do agree with him, that it's they need him there to be able to play like they do. Apache, yeah, probably. I mean, it's not ideal, but was he? I tell you what, let's go back 18 months, 2 years. Was he passed to that much initially? Go back and think.
Only in the penalty box from crosses.
There it is then. But where he's not making them runs now, that pass is not happening, is it? So the only reason we never noticed how bad his passing was then. We're only noticing how bad his passing is now.
He's not scoring goals.
But that's the problem, isn't it? But that's the way we've set up, and that's the change that's happened. That's not on him. But anyway, just something that just one of my my observations, as Paul says there. He did the dirty work, does the donkey work, and especially a lot of the donkey work that goes unnoticed, and maybe that's where we've been going wrong with it. And in the way that we're looking at it, I personally have a lot of time for both of the Czech boys, and it's good to see that they're still part of the team that's turning things around. That he's not the excuse and the reason. We've taken him out of the team and now we're performing better. He's still there, and things are turning around. So I'm pleased for him, and like I say, I've looked at it a different way, and that's how I'm seeing it. I'm not expecting everyone else to do so. It's just me.
Fair enough. Do you want to do player ratings quickly?
Yeah, let's spend the next 5 or so minutes giving him some ratings.
Alphonse Areola.
I gave him a 7 on West Ham Network earlier, which I think was being a bit generous considering he had fuck all to do. So I'm going to downgrade that to a 6. Distribution again, we moan about how slow Fab is and how we want Areola in because he's quicker. There's a couple of times last night that I felt he wanted to release it quicker, but the players just weren't on it and ready for it. I'm going to give him a 6. That's only, but it's nothing disrespectful to him. Yeah, fuck all to do.
And you guys in the live chat pile in with your ratings as well, please. Right back, Vladimir Kufal.
I gave him a 9 on the network. Their midday show. I didn't get to see it all. Russ Anton and I can't think of her name.
Holly,
thank you. Really, really good show. I had headset in, but people kept trying to talk to me, so I had to take my headset out and turn it off. I actually gave him a 9. He got an 8 from me just as general, but he got the 9 because of the enforcer. The enforcer moment that he did on the Ghent number 8 on old George A. Santos. So I tell you what, I'll give him an 8 because if I give him a 9, then I've got to give other people 10s, and that's just ridiculous. So I'll give him an 8.
Fair enough. How about Kurt Zouma?
8 again. Andy and Steve mentioned that they thought he might have been on stilts or the old prosthetics that Oscar Pistorius uses, the old like boomerang carbon fiber kind of prosthetic. Yep. Did he have something similar to those attached to the bottom of his football boots last night at the back post? Because he's
blades.
Yeah, he won everything, didn't he? I mean, he was brilliant in the air last night. It was good to see him back to his old self. I'll give him an 8.
Fair enough. Right, so his partner was Naya Fagur.
Again, I'll give him an 8. He was assured on the ball, confident, especially in the final 10, 15 minutes. He was playing some really close-knit football with Declan Rice down in the left corner of our own half. Really assured. He's getting better and better the more games he plays. A bit like Lucas Paqueta. I'm going to give him an 8.
Okay, and at left back we had Emerson.
It was a toss-up between a 6 and a 7 for Emerson, but I've gone back to a 6 because he didn't bust a bollock to get back for the goal. If he'd put in the effort to get back, I don't think we concede that, and his mark will be higher. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Okay, next one we'll go to is your mate.
I'm actually going to give him. I'm going to give him an 8, like his checkmate, and that's. Yeah, some people might think that's generous, but again, watching from inside the ground, I get a different perspective because I'm up high. I get to see the way the game unfolds. And I did spend a lot of time watching him. He hits the bar. I think he should do better, yes. But his stuff off the ball is what's caught my attention. I'm actually going to give him an 8 because of the way that he is off the ball.
I'm guessing this fella's going to get a fairly decent mark.
If I could give a 12, I would give a 12. I'm actually going to give him a 9.5. I have to go half because I'm going to give him a 9.5. Captain's performance, great goal, passion, drive, determination, brilliant. Loved it.
How about this fella on the right, Jared Bowen?
I'm going to give him a going to give him a 7. I was going to give him an 8, but there wasn't any. If he got the goal, it would have been higher. Unfortunately, he just didn't get. He didn't get the goal his performance deserved to give him a higher rating. I'm going to give him a 7.
My man of the match,
10.
Lucas Paquetá.
There it is, and that's the reason for me that Rice has to get the 9.5. Harsh, I know, on deck because of the goal, but the way Paquetá stepped up after giving the ball away for their opening goal, I thought it showed a steely nature of the guy. He got his head down. He played some fantastic football, some great passes, and like you say, he stuck his foot in as well, Robin. And he wasn't shy when the challenges were coming in. He gets a 10 from me as my man of the match.
Fair enough. And then Said Benrahma on the left-hand side.
I'm going to give him a 6. It's his first half that let him down, Rob. Those crosses that were drifting into no man's land, and by no man's land, I mean the gap between the pitch and the stands. That's where every single cross that he put in ended up. I'm going to give him a 6, and the fact that he ran in the same fucking space as Mikel Antonio for Antonio's goal, rather than if you watch.
Oh my goodness!
Everyone downstairs is cheering. That's exactly why. This is amazing.
We don't want that though, do we? Really?
No, we don't, but it's fucking amazing. It's for Declan Rice's goal. Antonio actually runs over to the right and takes defenders away. Benrahma actually made Antonio's role in the goal more difficult because he literally ran fucking next to him. They might as well have just been holding hands, skipping down a like a spring day in the fucking flower lot, But fair play to Mickey, he got the goal, but no, Benny gets a 6 from me.
Okay, well, talking of Mickey, how did you rate his performance?
He gets a 9. Absolutely brilliant. Back to beast mode. I actually felt he was fouled a couple of times, that things weren't given. I actually think they should have had a red card at one point. Again, took a nasty elbow, I believe it was, to the side of the head in the second. It was second half. Yeah, I think it was the second half. Took a nasty knock. Did anyone see what happened with Soufal? Because they did have the electronic go-kart round there at one point, didn't they? He took a nasty tackle over there. I actually thought he broke his leg at one point when that came out. No, Antonio gets a 9. Declan Rice gets a 9.5. Paquetá gets a 10. They're my ratings.
Well, you got one more to do, mate, and it's this fella.
How much of it did he actually have to do with it? Again, we have to go 1-0 down before we start playing. But he's taken us to another semi-final in Europe. I'm going to give him an 8.
I think that's fair. I mean, we say he's part of the problem,
and his subs, Rob,
also part of the solution as well. Sometimes
his subs were bang on. For me, we get to a point where we're 4-1 up. He takes off Rice. Actually, he pulls off Rice, but that was after they got into the changing room. Yeah, he pulled him off in the changing rooms. He takes off Antonio. He takes off Bowen. He takes off Zuma. He took off 5. Who else did this? Benny. Benny, Rice, Antonio, Bowen, and Zuma, which was a nice place to be in. Is that what it was? Thank you, Apache. It was a nice place to be in, Rob, that we could take those players off, knowing that we got a tough game on Sunday. So his thought process there was on the money. Got to give him that.
Fair. Any final thoughts before we knock it on the head, old chump?
No, just to say we're yes, there is actually. It was good to see people enjoying themselves again last night. West Ham are massive. Rang around the stadium after we got the third, I think, when Declan Rice scored. When leaving the ground, we came out. We got a drink at the bar to the left of the main bridge, right as you're coming in. Bubbles was being sung. West Ham are massive was being sung. Irons was being screamed out at the stop and go signs all the way back to the station. Oi, big boy, what's your name? That rang out a couple of times, which was amazing. Oh, East London, that was sung. South London is full of shit. Apart from the Lewisham Tavern, that was sung a couple of times. It was good to have that back, Rob. It was good to have that feeling of enjoyment, the fun behind going to watch West Ham that we had last year. Coming out, the fans singing, the fans were jovial. I think as can't remember who it was now at the very, very start of the show, top of the show. Joan and Mandy were saying that after so many months of depressing football, it feels good to wake up in the morning and have that good feeling, to kind of be back in love with it all again, Rob. Not that we ever fell out of love with West Ham, but to be back in love with the whole aspect of it all. West Ham are massive is sung. It's such a tongue-in-cheek kind of. It's fun. It's a parody song. We take the piss out of ourselves, but we also sing it in the big moments. And it was good to have that back last night. It was good to be a part of that last night. And I just hope that we can go one step further this year. We fell at the final. I say the final hurdle, the penultimate hurdle last year in the semi-final. I really hope that. I wouldn't say we're long-suffering fans. We're perennial.
I would.
Suffering. I wouldn't say no. We're not long-suffering because we've never been the ones that. We're always the also-rans, Rob, for the most part. It's not. We always kind of hope that this year's our year with the FA Cup or the League Cup, but it's never something that we seriously would expect. Oh, we're definitely winning it this year. When you look at the teams around us and the way other teams invest, we got a bloody good chance at a trophy this year. We as fans certainly deserve it. We've gone a long time without winning something. I mean, we say that, so have Fulham. Do we? No, we don't, I'm afraid. I've heard of it, but no. We deserve this as fans, and we can finally stick two fingers up at them spud fuckers from North London. That this was a trophy that they were in last season and couldn't win it.
Fair enough. On that note, we'll knock it on the head because I've got my dinner that's on its way.
I'm going to go watch the football before I have to go and do the DJ. Yes.
Well, guys, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. And once again, West Ham are massive everywhere they go. And before we disappear, I forgot to play it at the beginning. Please forgive me, John. It was a slip up on my part. But please don't forget to support the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. And we will see you tomorrow morning around about 9:30, wasn't it?
Indeed, sir. Yes,
9:30, something like that.
Early.
All right. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you Irons. Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons.